superior than Uzi's, if that makes sense. We'll see where they really match up and what their picks are going to be, and that's what I like to see, a Sivir ban.
Sivir stricken immediately, double top lane ban to get rid of Acorn and TBQ's Fizz. And that could also be Godfrey's Fizz as well. So we're seeing LGD now. They went for that first insta-ban Sivir. Now they're going to take away Xiong's Rise.
Makes sense. We haven't really seen Xiong get his hands on that Rise, but again, he was originally a mid laner, very well known for his Syndra play. So obviously from mid lane to support now to the top lane, would expect him to be able to pick up that Rise. Likewise, Cool could also pick up that power champion. But it's 5.11. Rise is really strong. We shouldn't see him go through.
Yeah, hopefully that is going to be high priority as OMG look for their last ban. And this will really give us an insight. And yeah, they do ban away PYL's Alistar, so you called it. There it is. Up next is LGD's last ban.
Makes sense. Priority pick. It's not going to be for Amazing on OMG. It's either going to be for Xiong or Uzi. First pick Sivir is very common from OMG. Obviously, they won't get it this time because Sivir is banned, but no reason to allow that Alistar to take up a first pick for your support Amazing.
Yeah, now Maokai is still open for Xiong. We've seen him perform to great success with it in the past. Nautilus still on the board as well. Interestingly enough, looking at Nidalee first, likely going to be swapping that over. Instead, he decides to put Cool on the tried and true Victor.
So Cool had a great performance on Victor. Victor's been a power pick for the LPL. We saw Hutong struggle with it last game because it just wasn't given enough resources as far as zoning. So Victor does have a weakness. You just have to get back onto that back line because he's very low mobility. And Rek'Sai would be a perfect champion to do that.
Yeah, Gragas is still available as well. We've really seen people who can dive into the backline and get onto Victor punish him the most. So knowing that LGD, they've got the aggressive AD carry Imp. Maokai, they do know is still open, and yeah, they are going to be looking at Sejuani Maokai. No, it's Nautilus Maokai instead.
This is a really good second rotation, so taking Maokai away, because obviously I guarantee if Maokai hadn't been taken, OMG would have second rotated it. Obviously, Victor just has higher priority. Again, Xiong's not their big star player. It's Uzi, Sivir first pick, Sivir is banned. Cool, Victor first pick. Taking Maokai, it's a denial against Xiong. We'll see if he maybe looks for that Nautilus, but he can't because it was also picked up for PYL.
Yeah, kind of going to be a little bit difficult to pick up a champion.
The double whammy.
Yeah, and Rek'Sai now being looked at by Shui Shui. We saw World 6 perform it to great success in both of his previous games. Will Shui Shui be able to do it? Cool is going to lock in Annie for Amazing, and so far it looks like a go button team comp out of OMG.
Without the Sivir, now Uzi has fallen back to Corki when he doesn't have that Sivir available. The thing, though, is that we're 5.11. Caitlyn's been changed. You know who's a big Caitlyn player?
Hit me.
Uzi.
Okay.
Was that?
I was trying to follow the train of thought, but I was like, I could be wrong. It might be Imp. Imp could play Caitlyn as well.
No, but think back to Season 3 World Champions. Uzi on his Caitlyn. Just those disgusting mechanics.
We'll see if he is going to be able to get that Caitlyn as Graves looked at by Imp. You can see him on the screen right there as he's thinking about it. It's going to be Varus for Godv in the mid lane, and Imp taking that Graves.
Wow. Okay. So kind of a throwback. Imp had great performance on Graves last split, so no surprises there. Godv taking the Varus, this has really risen up. It's a big answer for controlled mages, typically against Azir and Cassiopeia, just because Varus's Q is going to outrange them. Now, the build path is going to be very similar to Jace, Muramana, Last Whisper, Brutalizer. And again, it's all just about empowering that Q. And because the mid lane is the shortest lane in the game, the distance traveled and the fact that it goes through creeps and it has that piercing ability is just really punishing. So using it in the same sense against Victor.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if Godv is going to be able to pull it off as Uzi looks to go toe-for-toe with the lightning-fast Lucian. And Xiong going for the caster mage in the top lane once again, opting for Rumble.
So the two burst caster ADCs, Graves and Lucian.
Yeah.
Curious how this one's going to go. I'm actually really excited because this tells me that it should be a 2v2.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
And they're really just going to try to murder each other.
We'll see if it's going to be too successful, as you also have Shui Shui and TBQ going to be looking to help out. It's Lee Sin being hovered over now. TBQ looks like it's the last pick, unless that is going to be a jungle Nautilus. You can put PYL on another support, but with the Lee Sin locked in, it's secured, and that's going to be PYL on Nautilus.
Last pick to TBQ, so Twin picking up his signature Lee Sin. This is his champion.
We'll see how he does on it.
It's typically not a very good pickup into Rek'Sai because if you time her W correctly when she pops up, you can actually interrupt the Sonic Wave. So, I mean, for a long time it was considered almost a direct counter just in how the mechanics and the synergy of the champions working together. It's not awful though. I mean, obviously you still have kill pressure of Lee Sin on Rek'Sai and vice versa.
Yeah, now in the top lane, you've got Acorn and Xiong. You can see the Maokai and Rumble on your screen right now. Again, this is OMG versus EDG. We're getting into game number 1 right now as we're running through the rosters. Shui taking that Rek'Sai into TBQ, and we saw how World 6 can be super aggressive on it. Level 2, level 3 once again. We'll see if Shui goes for something similar because Lee Sin also has the capability to go for that early aggression. You know, I'm kind of noticing neither Varus nor Victor have early escapes.
Low mobility mid laners. Yeah, that said, Varus has a lot more safety because he's got more initial range than Victor does, but Victor will have more or earlier wave clear available to him before Varus gets more points in his queue.
Yeah, so we did get through the rest of the roster. There was Amazing and PYL on those supports. It was Annie and Nautilus. And that bottom lane looks to be really exciting. The bursty caster AD carries.
I mean, the players to watch this game is going to be the mid lane Cool versus Godvi and the bot lane Uzi versus Imp.
Yeah.
Every single carry for both these teams is just devastating, and I'm just curious who's going to go off.
And we'll definitely have to find out as we're getting into the Rift right now. Okay, I said right now. It was like wait 10 seconds, then now.
Right now.
But we are on to the Rift. It's OMG and LGD for game number 1. Are we getting the LGD? We're going to take it all the way to the finals of the playoffs, or are we getting the LGD? This is the regular season. We're not going to try so hard. We will find out.
Tentatively sandbagging.
Yes. Amazing coming in from the far side, potentially looking to catch someone out. Good trinket ward. Yeah, it looks like so far everybody's being nice and defensive.
Let's talk about what we expect to happen right now. So this is OMG. Where are they going to play? They're going to play to the bottom side. They're going to gank Uzi's lane over and over and over again. Now, in the past, when he's on Sivir, when he's on Corki, what they do is they take a snowballed advantage bot side and they rotate it around to free towers, push down very early towers as quickly as possible because it gives you global gold and gives them a ramp into a very quick mid game. And once they have a surplus gold lead on you from taking so many towers or having that advantage, then they look to team fight you.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if they're going to be able to pull that off this time, as Cool on the not so very mobile Victor. It's going to be mostly on the back of if will Uzi and Amazing be able to get ahead in the respective lane, or will Shui look for a gank. And in fact, LGD decide to look for a lane swap.
Yeah, so it was setting up to be a 5-point, but they do initiate the lane swap, and with that, LGD do also invade and steal away the blue buff. So we'll see if OMG, I mean, they see Graves into the top lane, so I assume that Shui is going to go ahead and make the call to walk over to LGD's blue and make sure that he at least starts 2 buffs. Yeah,
so hopefully we see that happen as the double jungle commences between Acorn and TBQ, while Cool looks to continue trading out with Godvi in the mid lane. There's the wave clear you were talking about from Godvi right away. You can see he's already pushing Cool under the turret as much as he can to make sure that Cool, if he decides to go into the jungle to make anything happen, would miss some CS. And yeah, there is Shui looking for the blue invade right now.
And the big thing was the fact that that Gromp was warded, so they saw that Lee Sin didn't start the blue buff to give Rek'Sai the go-ahead. And yeah, Godvi's going to continue to push Cool in. Obviously, he has an empowered, not an empowered auto attack, but he has more auto attack damage than poor little Victor here. But as soon as Victor has his upgraded Hex score, again, that laser is going to be able to free clear the wave, and the advantage will shift very quickly.
Yeah, and you can see Godvi shoving as hard as he can to try to keep Cool down, but in fact it's Cool who's up in CS, and with the lane swap going on, that means we're going to see Xiong and Shui continue to double jungle just a little bit longer. In fact, we haven't seen either of the solo laners make it into lane just yet, while the duos present a very scary challenge. You don't want to be caught out of position when one of these teams looks for a dive.
So PYL already made an early back, and the first thing that he picks up, it's not wards, it's actually boots, and he's running towards his duo in the jungle right now. So the big thing about lane swaps for LGD is it unlocks PYL to roam around the map as the captain, as the shot caller, and as the guy on these high impact champions like Alistar, Annie, this case Nautilus. the faster that he gets involved with his team and making plays, as he did look for a gank in that mid lane, the better LGD's chances are.
Yeah, and with that, once again, the invade continues as LGD look to potentially collapse on that top tier 1 if anyone would have been there to defend it, but Xiang isn't taking any chances. He's going to be following Shui throughout the entirety of the jungle so far. And things look to be off to a relatively slow start. So far, Cool and Godvi have been on an island, while the same thing has been happening between Uzi and Imp. However, OMG have got their duo on the bottom side,
which gives them more dragon pressure, which means that this is going to be a free objective for them on the bottom, or excuse me, on the bottom side, on the top side of the map. So they're not going for a 4v0 fast push. What they're trying to do is bounce the wave. So they're trying to deny as much CS and experience into that tower before they let it fall, which is fairly smart, but they lose the initial advantage.
Dragon now is secured for OMG. That's number 1. Here comes the roam from PYL as recall from Acorn and TBQ look to defend that bottom tier 1, and the recall from Shui and Amazing might be going for something similar. Yeah, PYL just runs across through the mid lane. Amazing heads back down to the bottom. As Uzi, he's doing some serious work to the tier 1. I don't know if he's going to be able to break it in time. You
don't necessarily think of Lucian as a siege champion, and I say this all the time, but it used to be when you saw Ziggs Lucian, when Ziggs was really potent, kind of in first rotation, that was immediately going to be a siege comp. Just because Lucian's so good at burning through towers quickly by using his passive, the double tap.
Ooh, Uzi overextended, is caught out by PYL. Ignite goes down, he's snared, he's taken so much damage, they even body block him. He goes down, it's first blood onto Acorn. They turn now onto Amazing. He doesn't have his flash. 2 quick kills for LGD.
Great rotation from LGD to find the early aggression. This is kind of the other thing. So we said that a lot of resources will be expended and given to Uzi. He'll get a lot of ganks. But statistically, OMG are actually very weak at getting the initial first blood. They only have a 37% chance of getting it, one of the lowest in the LPL. And again, it kind of speaks to the weakness of their new jungler and how he's really failing or struggling to fit into the team dynamic.
Yeah, the dive by OMG is not answered. They look to try killing Imp, but with Acorn teleporting up, suddenly Xiang and Shui are in a bad spot. Xiang is actually forced to take the long way out as he gets zoned away by Acorn. And so far, things look to be going in LGD's way. This might just be the team that took second place in the playoffs of the LPL last split.
We're seeing them. Uh-oh. Cool into some trouble.
Yeah, TBQ finds Cool. Going for the dissonance first. There goes the cleanse, but it's chased now by TBQ. He takes a turret hit and then has to jump away.
Really good. I want to talk about his angle into lane right there. So a lot of Lee Sins will try to lead with the Sonic Wave, but making sure that he got an easy Sonic Wave by walking into melee range and laying down the slow and getting that out. So great job from TBQ. Doesn't find the kill, but certainly forces out one of the summoner spells in that cleanse.
Yeah, with that cleanse gone, that means that the level 6 return from Godv is actually pretty scary and cool. He's at reasonably low health right now. OMG will take that first tier 1, trying to clear the wave out just a little bit, but that's really big. And Acorn, you can see him waiting in the brush over there, just arms wide open, saying, "Come to be my minions."
That said, this is fairly common from OMG. They may have a low first blood percentage, but they have a very high first tower percentage. They're all about that rotation. The question is now, since Uzi's on Lucian as opposed to Sivir or Corki, where he's going to go next, and if OMG will retain to their MO and start rotating him across the map, or maybe keep him into that bottom lane and look for a duel.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see as LGD actually opt for a recall themselves. Imp looks like he might be headed back up to the top, but no, PYL goes bottom. And LGD already predicting it. They've got their mind set out for OMG. They had the timer on that tier 1, and with the recall, they're going to send their duo bottom.
Things slowing down a little bit. I mean, it's not Imp and Imp getting solo EXP into the bot lane. He is, we always talk about how Uzi's lane phase is very dominating and how he always seems to find a CS lead. Imp is also one of those carries that always seems to find a CS lead on his opponent, and he actually has one right now. And it's going to get even bigger now that he just walked to that big bottom wave.
Okay, you can see he's trying to stall it out as best he can as Acorn looks to head top and meet Xiang in the 1v1, while the blue is now handed over to Godv on that Varus. He secures it and looks to continue putting out harass with that tier and the double longsword. And yeah, there's the upgraded Hex Core for Cool as he receives his own blue as well. So you're exactly right. Things have slowed down a little bit. But let's start to set the stage. How are team fights going to work for these teams? Obviously, they both seem to be 80 carry focused, except for LGD also relying on Godv a little bit, and Cool Max filling the same role on that Victor. How are these fights going to work out?
I feel like LGD picked their champions not necessarily for their collective synergy, but just for their individual lane matchups, if that makes sense. Graves, Nautilus, obviously a very strong lane, and Imp just really likes playing Graves. Varus is very much a poke style of champion, and Victor offers that, but Victor's also going to offer a lot more AoE damage, where Varus is going to offer more AoE control with his ultimate, and just kind of almost as Nidalee and Jace would sit back and get multiple rotations through that queue. So as far as team fights, it's Uzi's going to be very self-sufficient on his Relentless Pursuit, and it's really going to be about Cool putting out the sustained damage with his Chaos Storm and his lasers. Although, hold on, Shui might have found someone.
Yeah, they're trying to contest the pink. They do succeed. Amazing takes a lot of damage in PYL. Whoa, barely dashes out of there. The flash puts him over the wall. Equalizer is covered by Imp, and OMG look for a fight, but they don't find it.
Yeah, kind of a waste for the teleport right there. There is going to be a discrepancy because Acorn doesn't have his teleport right now, but he will have it up in time for this dragon in 50 seconds. And so we'll see how Xiong plays around not having it, and if he's going to hang around that pit a little bit more. Obviously, the equalizer will be available, but if he doesn't have the teleport, he can't use it. That's a huge dragon fight ultimate that wouldn't be available.
It definitely is, and with Godby putting so much pressure on this mid-tier 1, and even TBQ showing himself now, Cool has got to play super defensive, really far back. He's even going for the recall right now, so he might not be able to make it for that dragon in time. You can see LGD have got solid vision control over it as well. So far things look to be going in LGD's favor if they've got their eyes on that dragon. Xiong shoving in the top lane. Dragon's up in 10 seconds. However, Ward from Amazing is in front of the pit.
It's a really weird comp. I keep looking at LGD, I'm like, I feel like they just wanted to play fun champions.
And this was something that you talked a little bit about during Champion Select. Their draft phases haven't always been strong.
I mean, individually, they're all strong pieces. And again, if you think about just their individual lane matchups, Nautilus, Graves, that's a strong lane. Varus into Victor, Varus into Azir, that makes sense. Lee Sin is just his, signature champion. Maokai strong, but it's like collectively all together. You've got some dive, you got burst, you got poke, you have Lee Sin. So they've got some dive threat. They've got a lot of different options. We'll see how it coordinates together.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to. With Dragon now freshly respawned, you've got 3 members, now 4 on the bottom side of the map for both of the teams, and even the roam from Xiong. As he looks to head on down there, that means Acorn is going to get some free shot. TBQ might be caught out by a stun. Cool doesn't punish him with the laser. And it looks like OMG, despite being at a bit of a disadvantage not 30 seconds ago, have found the superior positioning. They're going to start the dragon and burn it down. They secure it. There goes the culling. Acorn gets onto Amazing, but he's got no backup. Forced to flash right away. The kick knocks away Shui as Cool is still alive in the backside. Acorn in the front finally goes down to Cool. The knockup finds Xiong. Here goes a lot of damage from Godby. PYL gets caught out. TBQ and Imp are doing serious work to Shui. That's 2 kills for 2. However, the dragon is picked up by OMG. The
equalizer was used so early in that fight, and then there we go. We have our answer. So how are LGD going to team fight with this?
Oh.
Nice snipe. Well, it's really easy to do when OMG decide to scatter like marbles. So again, even though all 10 members were in that same area, it was effectively a 2v2, a 1v1, a 1v1.
Yeah. Really chaotic fight for OMG. They didn't seem to expect that LGD would want that fight, and because of it, they were punished. They do secure their second dragon, however, which means taking this turret isn't quite as easy for LGD Imp, but you can see he's even trying to stagger the wave a little bit, so he should be able to take this turret down as he zones Uzi away from all of those tasty, tasty minions.
He's not going to get it, though. He's not going to get a true reset.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Well, he still was able to deny some gold over to Uzi, and in the end, that is resulting a pretty solid CS lead.
I was going to say, Imp winning out. Even though it was, a lane swap initially, he has the CS lead on Uzi. Not many people get to say that. In fact, Kid had a very unfortunate matchup against Uzi where Uzi bodied him with an 80 CS discrepancy. So
yeah, we're not quite seeing discrepancies that large, as we're now 13.5 minutes into the game, and LGD putting up a good, really solid team fight after that. Once again, slowing things down.
I think it was more so, I mean, not to take anything away from LGD, obviously individually their pieces worked really well, but I really feel like it was OMG fumbling the team fight versus LGD executing it well. You know, not staying together, not using their cooldowns as well as they could have. So we'll see if they maybe tighten things up. The other big issue is that we talked about how Uzi is their big centerpiece right now and kind of their new identity, and they like to gank his lane, they like to give him early resources. He effectively got none of that this game, and this is what we see, LGD taking the lead.
Yeah, and with that, that's going to put Imp in a pretty happy position. Here's a replay of the
snipe.
Oh
flash?
My gosh,
Flash?
there's no way.
He's going to flash.
That's so much range.
Boom!
Bah,
is that Godv? He did that blind.
Oh my gosh, what a shot. How did he know?
There was a, I'm assuming if that ward was still there, he had the Krug warded, so he would have seen at least Victor walk into that bush, and then he just had to guess. Can you imagine just the bravery to burn your flash on a blind bush shot?
Potential kill. Well, I mean, it's got to be. He did it, he pulled it off, and you can see his flash still on cooldown because of it. OMG with a quick swing to the top lane. Look to continue that objective-focused game. They bring 4 members and a minion wave, put some pressure onto that top tier 1. 3 members of LGD look to contest. Even Cool is coming up there as well.
My favorite is when TBQ walks into a lane, throws Sonic Wave, doesn't connect.
And then just walks out.
He looks around, he's like, no one saw that, right? No, we saw.
And then goes back to the Krug. Yeah, OMG are so focused on taking this top tier 1. Imp is getting so much time on the bottom lane to just farm it out. You can see he's even playing taunts to keep himself occupied. He knows there's not going to be that much. Yeah, they might.
The Tibbers.
Stun comes down onto Acorn. Equalizer is dropped as well. They're blowing so much damage. He's still alive, but has to walk through the Equalizer. Amazing goes down, but they trade a kill right back over. Xiyoung is taking some serious damage from the turret. The hook finds Uzi. It's still being tanked up by Xiyoung so excellently. The aggro is juggled. TBQ again misses the Sonic Wave.
Kind of decent juggling from OMG right there. That said, trying to burn through the Maokai, probably the tankiest member on the team, had his ultimate through the entire duration of that. So they end up trading 1 for 1. It will mean the tower for OMG, so they squeak slightly ahead on that exchange. But I mean, what they're trading is the CS from Imp, but hold on.
Oh, Godby could be caught out here as Shui looks to collapse with Uzi. There goes the Chain of Corruption. Cleanse is clearing it instantly, and Godby with no flash dies.
Picking the Victor to have it cleansed as opposed to Rek'Sai so we could at least stall one of them. Beautiful play from Cool and Shui there.
Yeah, really solid having that ward there. And just like that, the top tier 1 goes down. OMG get what they want, and they even find a kill onto Godby in the mid lane.
Well, this is the big issue with Varus. So yeah, when he's, you know, standing in front of his tower, his range on his Q is so oppressive, as we saw, you know, his sneaky flash play over the Dragon Pit. But if he's kind of out in the river or out wandering around, that's still a very low mobility ADC. It's super easy to walk up on top of him and just body him.
Yeah, and with that, it's going to be his first death of the game so far. The wave being caught by PYL and TBQ. We all know how important it is to make sure your supports have CS. And Godby finally makes it back out. Imp is still down there. He stopped playing taunts now, so at least there's that. He's found something to keep himself occupied.
He's playing his own variation, his own minigame. 30 CS on Uzi right now. How high can he get it?
I don't know. We'll definitely find out.
I was excited for the Uzi Imp 2v2. I didn't get it.
Completely avoided it. Well, there's still game 2 where we might see it happen.
I want the duel.
We definitely might still get it in team fights, because you did talk about how Imp is excellent in team fights.
Yeah, but LGD are not excellent in team fights right now. This is one of the weirdest. We talked about their champion picks and their compositions are just a little bit bizarre. And yeah, it's working for them because, again, there was just such a scattered team fight from OMG that they were able to effectively play their lanes just in a grouped up area. So we'll see if maybe if OMG kind of stack their AoE, get their Equalizer onto a Chaos Storm, into a Gatling gun, if maybe things go more their way.
Now, Dragon has just respawned, and after stalling out the laning phase, LGD look to finally set up a fight as all 5 members are here. Xiyoung is in the top lane, shoving up to that tier 2, but he's got his teleport and his Equalizer. So while Godby catches the wave in the mid, the rest of LGD try to burn through this Dragon. Looks like they're going to succeed, and OMG can't quite find anything to make up for it.
Really risky to check into that area with all the vision that LGD have, and that's really on the back of Varus. So if you think that Varus is acting very similar to Nidalee, to Jace laying down that poke, it makes sieging objectives and controlling objectives fairly easy for him. as long as you get to the area first and lay down your vision. And with that, it looks like they're also going to get a free tower.
Yeah, the teleport comes in from Xiong as he looks to defend it. And OMG, with poor positioning, actually find themselves in a bad spot. Xiong teleported in to try to help defend it. He succeeds, but that means the Acorn gets to head to the top and catch that shove from Xiong.
Not confident enough to teleport to one of the many wards that could have set up a nice background flank for OMG, though. Chooses instead to teleport on the tower.
I think he was more focused on sending a message with that teleport.
Oh my god, that damage.
That's a lot of poke.
There we go, and you see that he has...
Oh! Flash Tibbers finds Imp. Goes low, dashes out of the backside, and Amazing comes up huge. TBQ is low. There's the Chain of Corruption as Godby tries to poke it out. Acorn, what are you doing? You're going 1v5, Brent. He's got minor backup from Godby, and he's actually able to pick up a kill. And LGD are juggling this out. Their health bars are flashing red, but they're still alive right now. And they lost one member for 3. What the heck?
Okay, so it was the correct response from Amazing when you're facing against Poke, and I was just about to point out that Godby has Lucidity Boots. Again, it's all about the Varus Q, getting as many rotations as possible. The CDR is going to help with that from the Brutalizer, from the Lucidity builds, and he's just chunking away at OMG. You just can't let him do that. You have to just do the engage, throw the Tibbers Annie down, but unfortunately just didn't quite have the CC chain available to really make that fight happen, and LGD just... Godby, multiple rotations to the Q, picking him up.
Godby was really playing it close to the chest with that team fight. Here's the breakdown, and watch him.
Boom!
Gosh, that's done.
He got 3 members. But this is what we're talking about, the big AoE, but they're just able to backpedal so effectively.
Yeah, and the poke from Godby is so big. Acorn with the re-engage. So devastating.
Good use of flash. It is important to note how many flashes and disengages were used by LGD in that last team fight. Obviously, they mean so much more for that team because it's so punishing against that amount of AoE and burst damage that OMG has on their lineup. So we'll see if maybe the next team fight can swing towards OMG's favor. But right now, LGD making their comp work for them. Yeah,
they definitely are. The poke being exceptionally effective. And you can see, once again, LGD return to that mid lane as they look to clear out some more minion waves. And interestingly enough, you've got Imp headed up to the top lane while Uzi was farming in the bottom to try closing that gold discrepancy. The poke is insistent, and Amazing doesn't have flash again. Which,
big issue for Annie as well as for Rek'Sai. Shui has his flash, though, so he could look for a flank tunnel into a flashback line.
Ooh, big minion waves building in the top and bottom mean that eventually someone from OMG has to catch those.
You know what I love talking about with LGD?
Tell me.
Their wave manipulation on their side lanes. And how when they go to siege an objective, they always make sure that they have a push in either lane to play with multiple pressure points.
Yeah, and with that, Xiong shows himself in the top to clear that wave out. He manages to catch it, but at the cost of his mid-tier 1, and LGD continues shoving, looking for some damage now onto the tier 2. They pop the overshield. Imp is slowly Uzi gets chunked out.
I mean, OMG are just kind of watching LGD win the game right now, just passively losing.
Yeah, the minion waves are trying to make it there in time. I believe this should be a cannon wave, so...
They have to go. They have to pull the trigger. They can't continue just to sit here and eat Varus poke.
Yeah, with the recall out of Amazing, and same thing from Uzi. They take so much health. Cool is now the one who's bullied out with Cool at such low health. The Equalizer are forced to clear the minion wave, but they just do so much damage, and just like that, boom, the turret goes down.
Beautiful play from LGD and OMG. You take away Sivir, you take away Maokai, and they seem to fall apart at the seams.
Oh, but here comes the swing from LGD. They know they've got a big wave on the bottom. Culling is now being used by Uzi to try clearing it out. Teleport, Flash is back up for Amazing, but look at the poke. Godby is incessant.
Is that a targetable ability?
Gosh, I hope so.
It looks like it is.
Yeah, in Godby's hands it is. He's landing shot after shot and Amazing. Despite being at half health, he knows he has to stay here because if he goes away, that's the primary hard engage. Even Xiong getting more harass coming out. You can see they're desperately trying to clear wards to deny Godby's vision, but there's so much damage. Here he goes again.
He hasn't missed the last. There he goes. He finally missed one.
Finally get some good damage. Collateral damage now tossed onto Amazing.
On the opposite end of the map, there's a huge wave building up in the top lane, and Xiong needs to go deal with it.
Yeah, he's got his teleport. LGD back away a little bit. Bit of a missed timing window there, as that is going to be caught out by Xiong. Dragon's now up in a minute, and that looks like LGD are preparing for it.
And it's so devastating with this Varus. I'm not even going to say LGD's comp, because again, I'm still a question mark on that one. I'm still feeling that one out. But the Varus, it doesn't even matter. This is a one-man army just throwing down the Varus poke that there's just, doesn't matter what his team is. He could have like 6 karmas.
Yeah, and OMG going for the more zone control, stun, mid-control, mage style composition doesn't really have a lot of ways to dive into the back onto that Varus.
They didn't get their resources into Uzi. Uzi, you know, 0-1-4 right now, doesn't have the gold available. We said that, you know, Victor's going to be the big sustained damage, but likewise cool, he can't do anything. He gets half health by a Varus Q every 4 seconds.
Oh, now Dragon's up in 10 seconds, but LGD are playing to the top side. A lot of wards were just cleared from LGD, so that means OMG have got some serious vision here, but they set up a pretty dangerous game. They say, all right, you want Dragon? We'll trade you. You can have it if we can have Baron.
OMG did have a clever mid ward there. It's a big high traffic area, so they would be able to call out that Baron, which is why they didn't commit.
Hook finds Cool. He's taking so much damage. Is forced to flash out, but the CC continues to keep him locked. TBQ diving into the back actually makes it over the wall. Amazing, and Uzi chasing him as Imp follows. He's going to burst through Uzi's health so fast. Collateral damage finds Cool. Those are the 2 primary AD carries. One goes down. Is he going to be able to find Uzi as well? They're dashing as fast as they can, but they can't quite find it. Xiong managed to kill Godby, but he's being chased down by Acorn. And with that, that's going to go in LGD's favor.
Barely, though. And this is the thing that I want to point out, going back again to LGD's composition. They have a massive gold lead right now. But again, it comes to a big 5v5, and it's not a true front-to-back fight. It's these small skirmishes just kind of in the same area. But, I mean, OMG, with that gold discrepancy, just because they have so much AoE stack, although Acorn might trade it, they almost come out even on that fight. But with it, LGD do a great job. They say, okay, we came out slightly ahead, and they translate it into an objective and secure that dragon.
Yeah, and with that dragon secured, that brings it 2-2 in terms of dragons. And you talked about that gold lead. It's 7,000 in favor of LGD. They've got a CS lead in every single lane. You can see a 1,600 gold lead for Acorn, the top laner. And in the mid lane, that's a 2,200 gold lead for Godby as he's landing so much harass. Really, the person who's closest is Uzi. He's finally caught up in CS to Imp, as LGD were looking for team plays instead of getting Imp fed. But
he just magically gets CS.
Yeah, I don't know where he managed to pull that through.
There's a lot of jokes in the community for teams. OMG made the joke when Uzi got onto the team that he eats everything. I believe going on his Weibo when Uzi showed up, he's like, I went downstairs to get something to eat and there was nothing there, and then I realized, oh, Uzi must be here.
Yes.
So I think it's the same thing with CS. He just eats everything.
He's a vacuum, just hoovering that whole wave up so quickly.
I wanted TBQ to do it. I wanted him to proc the Sonic.
Yeah. That's the Lee syndrome. You land the Q, then you have to follow it. It's the same thing with Rengar Ultimate.
No, he's had a good performance, getting a lot of picks.
When you use Thrill of the Hunt, you have to jump on someone, even if they're in 5 members of the enemy team.
I hear the salt of your solo queue coming through.
A little bit of a bitter connotation right there, but again, this is LGD versus OMG, and things are looking up for LGD.
Things are looking at Baron right now for LGD.
They are playing really confidently. Xiong is catching the wave on the bottom side. Acorn just recalled. He has teleport. They could be looking for a pick right here. Home guard brings him back, and nope, he goes right back on the fountain as he's looking for the teleport.
Setting up a lot of their vision. If they do get a pick here or lay down some nasty poke, they could very easily transition this into a Baron. So LGD definitely identifying what they want to play for. And there we go. Here this starts again. Yeah. Varus has the blue buff.
Godby is doing so much damage. He's now got a BF sword on top of all of that penetration. So those arrows are going to hurt. Split push now coming out from Acorn as he looks to shove up in the mid. It's going to be a 1-4 split while TBQ prevents any sort of rotation as he waits on the side. The moment someone tries to get out of position, he's going to punish them. Xiong, the sole hope for OMG, he's not taking any poke right now. He's going to try shoving that wave back up.
Does have his teleport available. Big key ultimates for the next team fight. Can OMG lay down consistent AoE CC lock, or will Godby get down enough poke where they just bully OMG off the objective?
Yeah, and oh man, Imp is doing some serious damage. Even blowing the collateral damage finds 4 members. Shui gets poked out as well. Without the overshield, he's got to back away, and this tier 2 turret is going down.
using the collateral damage as a poking tool, knowing that they're here for their structure objective. They're not looking for a dive. They're just looking to be a nuisance. And OMG, they're just so scattered. They won't pull the trigger. That's what they need with their hard engage composition. Amazing had his flash up, had the tippers available. You just need to flash stun.
Not quite finding it as Amazing isn't ready to pull the trigger, and so far LGD are increasing their gold lead mile by mile.
It's brilliant because it forces one of the weakest members of OMG to be the key and the catalyst to success for them. So Xiyoung and Amazing are going to be the primary tools for initiating, unless pretty much Shui, Xiyoung, and Amazing. Their two big carries are Uzi and Cool, but it's up to the three supporting members to really set Uzi and Cool up for victory, and that really hasn't been the case in any of OMG's games so far.
It looks like a fight breaks out. All 5 members of OMG are here. A huge knockup goes out, but there's the equalizer. They find Imp and Godby on the backside. So much damage onto Uzi. He's bursted down and is running for his life. He goes down. TPQ picks up the kill with the Cinder Hulk. Shui looking for the flank onto Imp. He can't quite find it. And Cool goes down here, and member by member of OMG gets shut down as LGD just take this game and blow it wide open.
10K gold lead. Again, LGD not fighting a 5v5, fighting from so many different angles, laying down the Varus poke before Godby really commits and flashes in to clean up the back half of that fight. But that's the gold lead speaking for itself. This Varus is huge, and Godby, he said, I'm the best mid laner in China. And right now he's sticking it to Cool.
Shui looking for the steal. He drops the ward over the wall. He doesn't quite make it over in time. Instead, he makes it just in time for his death.
That was close, though.
It was time.
Yeah, my heart stopped. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, didn't find the steal. Shui goes down. That's going to be an unofficial ace for LGD, losing only 1 member of their team. With that, they secure Baron. Dragon's now up in a minute. And LGD, if their poke was scary before, imagine how it's going to be now that they've got a Baron buff.
And LGD are very good with the Baron because, again, their side wave management. This is the thing that I also want to point out again. Uzi just cleared the top wave, but it was fairly large. When LGD approach a Baron, when they approach a team fight or any sort of objective, they always make sure to take the time to get their wave slow pushing. Acorn is a huge part of that. Godby is another big piece, but it's really oppressive of LGD and makes them a joy to watch. But here we go. This is the pick. So many cooldowns blown on PYL. So many cooldowns blown on PYL.
They focus just so much, and you can see the great zone control to prevent Godby and Imp from getting in, but the front line of TBQ and Acorn ended up just stalling that out so well, so that by the time Godby and Imp were able to get in there, Cool was dead, Xiyoung was at low health, Uzi was dead, and just like that, LGD pick up the Baron for themselves and look to end this first game in a rather convincing manner. They're instead going to pick up the 3rd Dragon just in case. You can see a bit of a wave building on the top side of the map, and in fact, TBQ does not have 4 Barons at the same time. That is a visual bug. This
was my question, though. Because OMG, you know, changing their identity, especially as they secure this blue buff back.
Oh man, PYL almost finds the pick once again. He actually goes for the depth charge. He's going to find Cool. A huge equalizer right on top of PYL. He's the only person taking it, and Acorn goes 1v5 and gets a kill. What the heck was that damage? LGD chasing down Amazing. TBQ looks for the insect play. Is he going to be able to find it? The flash now onto Uzi. He decides to settle instead for Shui. Cool goes down. Amazing is already dead. Shui forced to teleport away. Oh boy, LGD are going to siege down this mid inhibitor and take the inhibitor itself. The
power of Maokai, his ultimate across all 5 members of OMG. They couldn't do anything, and there's the surrender. This was the question. OMG had a tough week ahead of them, LGD and EDG. The question was, are they going to be a top-tier team? Can they really go the distance? You ban Sivir and Maokai, and you undo them. LGD with a great, I'm not going to say great draft phase, but great ban phase.
Yeah, you can see Cool right there feeling a little unhappy. He was the primary focus.